We'll move right on to the next item, which is item D, adopt resolutions authorizing construction and design work associated with the Crestmoor Glenview Neighborhood Reconstruction Project and receive an update on the status of ongoing construction projects. We have 3 separate actions to take here.
Mr. Mayor, as you just stated, there are 3 separate actions required as part of this item before the City Council tonight. The first is the authorization of award of a construction contract for the next phase of infrastructure replacement within the neighborhood. The second is approval of a contract for corrosion engineering services. And the third is approval of a contract for landscape design services related to the Crestmoor Canyon replanting. But before we go into details of those 3 items, I wanted to take a quick moment to update the council on the status of some of the work that's been completed and is currently underway within the neighborhood. In addition to the canyon slope stability work that was performed immediately after the explosion and fire, as well as the surface restoration work that was done to reopen the roadways, the city's recently completed the Phase 1 sewer project. That's shown here in green. What that project involved was the replacement of an undersized segment of pipeline between 1646 and 1650 Claremont Drive. In addition to that work, there were some sewer laterals that were necessary for some of the homes that are currently being reconstructed, both for some of the occupancies that have recently occurred as well as some pending occupancies. The Phase 2 utility project will ultimately construct those laterals, but we wanted to make sure we weren't holding anyone up. So in that construction contract, we issued a change order to the contractor to construct 7 additional laterals. This project, including the change orders, is essentially completed. We're in the project closeout stage now and expect to bring a certificate of completion forward within the next 30 days. The other project that's in construction is the Phase 1 water system improvements that were mentioned here earlier. They're shown on this exhibit in blue. And what that project entails is the construction of new water line connections and pressure reducing stations to help serve this neighborhood. During the past several weeks, there's been a considerable amount of construction both within Claremont Drive, east and west, within Sneath, and on the north side of Sneath. Today, actually, we were installing a portion of the water line in front of Fire Station 52 on Earl. This construction will continue for another 3 or 4 weeks until that project is essentially completed. With that, there will be some additional traffic detours and some localized traffic delays with traffic control that the contractor is providing. It's anticipated that the bulk of the construction, though, will be completed by the end of May on that project. This brings us to the one of the action items that's before the council tonight, and that's the Phase 2 utility replacement project. And what that project will do is replace and install new utilities within the fire damaged area of the neighborhood. And those utilities include new water lines, new sewer lines, and new storm drainage lines. In some locations, particularly at the intersection of Fairmont and Claremont, there's some seepage issues that have been there for long term. This project will put new storm drainage facilities in there that will resolve those seepage issues. This project represents the beginning of the major infrastructure reconstruction in the neighborhood. To date, as I said, the Phase 1 projects were fixing some smaller issues, resolving some localized problems. This represents the first full-scale improvement project to replace the infrastructure in the neighborhood. The next step is to reconstruct the infrastructure in the remaining portions of the neighborhood after this project is completed. As I stated previously, this work unfortunately will be disruptive to the neighborhood, particularly the fronting residences. The contractor will provide traffic control during the construction. They will keep access to the homes open at all times, or most of the times. There may be very short periods of time when a contractor is putting a pipeline right in front of someone's driveway that for 15 minutes to half an hour they may have their access impeded. If there's an emergency or any requirement during that time frame, the contractor does have steel traffic plates out there that he can put over the trench and get vehicles across. It takes, literally 5 minutes for him to install those in an emergency if need be. This project will last from about mid-May to probably about mid-September timeframe. The plan is not to repave the road and reconstruct the curb gutter and sidewalks in this area as part of this project. The trenches will be dug, the new pipes will be put in, and those trenches will be repaved. The intent is to get through this project, get through the Phase 3 utility project, which again will be the replacement of the utilities in the remainder of the neighborhood, and then come in at the end and do one street resurfacing project that will provide new streets, new curb gutter sidewalks where necessary, as well as new street light system. We're taking numerous steps to keep the neighborhood informed of the impacts of the construction, as well as to address public concerns. We will be holding periodic open houses throughout the construction period. These open houses are planned to be about 2 hours in length, and they'll be held every 4 to 6 weeks, depending upon the interest and needs of the community. They'll be staffed by myself as the project manager for the project, as well as the contractor, representatives from the contractor, and other city departments, depending on the issues that arise. The purpose, we provide an avenue for the public to voice any concerns or raise any issues that they're having with the construction, as well as to just keep the public informed and the contractor informed of the issues directly. The first open house is tentatively scheduled for Saturday, May 12th from 10 a.m. till noon at Fire Station number 52. This first open house will take place just prior to the anticipated start of construction of this project. So we'll send a notice out to residents related to that meeting here within the next week. We're also in the process of placing a project trailer up in the neighborhood. And what the project trailer will be is essentially a presence in the neighborhood of city personnel during the construction of not only the Phase 2 utilities, but the subsequent phases of work. The trailer will be located at the city-owned lot at 1680 Claremont Drive. We'll also have a bulletin board where we'll post updates, notices, and other information on that people walking through the neighborhood can look at the bulletin board, get periodic updates where traffic detours are going to be, traffic closures that might occur that week. The project office will also include temporary landscaping and other measures to make it aesthetically pleasing as possible to the neighborhood so that it's not an eyesore up there. Again, the purpose is to really have a presence in the neighborhood, be an avenue such that people can raise issues and raise concerns, and we'll be there to listen to them and address them. In addition to these steps, the city will continue to post regular updates related to construction, detours, road closures, as well as future meetings and open houses on the project's website, which is www.rebuildcrestmoor.org. And just a reminder that all residents in the neighborhood were sent a postcard announcing that website about 8 weeks ago. The remaining infrastructure reconstruction will occur, as I said, in a couple additional phases upon the completion of the Phase 2 project. The utilities will be constructed starting at the end of this project through the fall and into the beginning of next year. The paving and surface restoration project will happen next spring and into early part of next summer. And we'll update those schedules as final design progresses. We do currently have schedules for these projects on this, the website that I mentioned, the rebuildcrestmoor.org website. But getting back to the action items before the council tonight, the first item is the award of construction contract for this project, the Phase 2 utility project. This project was advertised in February, and we opened bids on April 9th. City received 10 bids. The low bidder was Shaw Pipeline Construction at $1.698 million, about approximately $1.7 million. This was about 21% below the engineer's estimate for the project. I think that's indicative of the continued, very competitive climate in the construction industry right now. The bids ranged from a low of 1.7, which was Shaw's, to a high of 2.4 million. We did receive one bid protest from the second bidder, Mountain Cascade. Their protest was related to the low bidder's omission in writing out in words his bid total. All of his math was correct. We deemed that the omission of him writing out the bid total was an inconsequential error, and so our recommendation is that the council award the contract to Shaw Pipeline. In addition, we've established a construction budget of about just less than $2.2 million, $2.187 million. That includes the bid amount plus a 15% construction contingency, as well as a direct estimate of the construction management and inspection services for the project. So the second item before the council tonight is a contract with JDH Corrosion Consultants. They are a firm that provide expertise in cathodic protection design and corrosion engineering. The city's making a major investment in new infrastructure within the neighborhood. Many of these facilities will be metallic, either ductile iron, water line, or copper water services. PG&E also has some steel gas distribution lines and service lines within the neighborhood. They have cathodic protection system on them as well. San Bruno has corrosive soils, particularly in this neighborhood, and cathodic protection should be at least explored on these facilities such that such a major investment we don't run into corrosion problems in the future. The additional scope item that we've asked JDH to perform is investigating the integrity of PG&E's gas distribution system within the neighborhood. Within this area that's shown here, the Phase 2 area, we call the fire damaged area, PG&E did go into that area and replace the steel gas distribution lines with plastic. The concern that we have is we're going to be investing a tremendous amount of money on new infrastructure and paving the streets. We don't want to be putting all that money into the neighborhood and have a 50-plus-year-old steel gas system that PG&E owns in the ground that's subject to potential failure, corrosion, and other things going forward. We've asked PG&E to provide leak history for this system, as well as the surrounding neighborhoods that are about the same age. We've also asked them to provide any cathodic protection information they have on their pipelines and corrosion test data that they have. In addition to that, within the fire damaged area, we had PG&E dig up a couple of the services and the T's and sent them to a laboratory for testing. So PG&E has told us that this gas distribution pipeline is in excellent condition, that it's not in need of replacement. We're going to go through the proper steps to ensure that we fully believe that before we allow them to remain in the ground. So JDH will investigate that information, perform that testing, and provide recommendations to us. So we recommend that a contract with them, with JDH, be entered into. The final item before the council tonight is a consideration of a contract with MIG, and this is for the landscape design for the Crestmoor Canyon replanting. The replanting scheme, a replanting scheme using native materials in a high chaparral or coastal theme, was presented in the public meeting that we held at the end of January. MIG's currently providing landscape design as a subconsultant to BKF Engineers, who's doing the civil engineering design for the improvements in the neighborhood. This portion of work was not included, the replanting was not included in that contract. We thought it made the most sense, since MIG was familiar with the area and the project, for them to provide that landscape design work. And so that's what this contract is for landscape design, post-construction vegetation management plan, and construction support services. The replanting of the canyon is scheduled to occur late this fall and into the winter of next year. So with that, conclude the presentation on these 3 items, and just a reminder that we are asking the council to take 3 separate actions on this item tonight.
Okay. Any questions of staff? Ken?
Here's the cynic in me, but Harry, I don't know if you caught the reaction when you stated that PG&E said this and PG&E said that. I fully believe that you're going in the right direction and using the consultants and verifying for yourself, for our own good. I know PG&E has a ways to go to rebuild the trust, and whatever the reports say or whatever, I mean, we chuckle or we roll our eyes. So I just think that we need to know for ourselves so that we don't get caught up in, assuming that that their reports were right. That we do find out for ourselves. That's, like you said, I mean, we're investing so much. We need to know. We need to be sure. Regarding the planting, I mean, that's a design just for the canyon, the outline of the canyon, or what else?
Yeah, this contract before you tonight is just for the replanting of the canyon. So it's just the area from the canyon rim down to the bottom of the canyon.
So not knowing what entails a consultant on something like that, what exactly are they? I mean, are they going to show exactly where plantings are going to go for that roughly an acre of area?
Yeah, they will prepare actually a planting and irrigation plan, because the plants will need to be irrigated for a period of probably 2 or 3 years until they establish roots. Okay. The vegetation management plan that they will be preparing includes, if you've driven by there lately, which I know you have, you see those eucalyptus trees that are re-sprouting again. The idea is to let them re-sprout. Actually, this year we're going to cut them back, but to keep those stumps alive, because they are helping secure that slope, helping with the stability of the slope. As the plants that we'll be planting take hold and mature, we'll slowly wean those eucalyptus stumps back, and eventually, in essence, kill them off, and the new plants will take hold.
Good. Thank you. That's all I have.
Any other questions of staff? Action by the council?
Separate actions, you
Yes.
say? Okay. So I'd like to introduce a resolution for item 1, authorizing the Reconstruction Phase 2 utility replacement project.
Vice Mayor Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilmember Medina.
Aye.
Councilmember Salazar.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye.
I'd like to introduce a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with JDH Corrosion Consultants Incorporated.
Vice Mayor Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilmember Medina.
Aye.
Councilmember Salazar.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye.
And finally, I'd like to introduce a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with MIG Incorporated for the landscape design of the canyon.
Vice Mayor Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilmember Medina.
Aye.
Councilmember Salazar.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye.